All right, hi everyone. Apologies about the delay at the start there, a few little technical issues. So I'm going to hand you straight over to Stuart. If that's okay with you, Stuart, if you're ready.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
So, quick introduction before we get started. So thanks everyone for coming along to our second virtual roundtable discussing Release Wave 1. A quick introduction from me. I'm Stuart Baxter, Solution Architect with Brightwire. I think to get started while we're waiting on people joining, we'll do a quick rundown of who we have as well. So Manoj, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi Stuart, this is Manoj here from Infuse AI India, and I play a role of 365 and Power Apps architect for the company.
Thank you. Felix? I don't think we have Felix. Marcus?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm actually one of Stuart's colleagues at Brightwire. I'm a Power Platform architect in the UK.
And Matt Oldfield.
Hi, my name is Matt Oldfield. I am the founder of Spark 365, and we build Dynamics 365 solutions.
Thank you. The next one I've got Kiralos Kamal. I'm not sure if that's your full name or a nickname there. Can you introduce yourself? I think most of the other people are on mute, actually. I've got C. Kane as well. C. Keen, sorry. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, hi there. Yes, my name is Claire Keane. I work for National Museums Liverpool. I'm the IT Application Delivery Manager. We do a lot of work with Power Platform, and we recently introduced Dynamics as well, which is less my area, which is perhaps my interest today in listening to some of the developments or issues and challenges with Dynamics. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And I can see we've got Maciej as well. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Matthias Torresman. I'm a consultant from Norway. And
yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And Colin Miller.
Hi everyone. Hi Stuart. So I'm Colin Miller from Brightwire, a colleague of Stuart's as well. So looking forward to this.
Perfect. So I think we've got everyone joined now. So let's dive straight in. So today we're going to be talking about Release Wave 1. As most of us know, the release wave went in kind of start of April, so we're about a month in now. We've hopefully been starting to use the new features. So I'll start off by going through my favourite new feature, and then we'll kind of go around the table and have a chat around the different features that you guys have found. So favourite thing I've found over the last couple of months is the new in-app notifications from model-driven apps. They were released in preview in last release wave. They're now in general availability. And alongside them, you now have the ability to create through Power Automate. So it's a low-code solution as opposed to using JavaScript or C# as you were able to during the preview feature. Let's go on to Manoj. What's your favourite new feature, mate? What's the favourite one you've found so far?
You're saying in the Power Automate or in general?
In general, across D365, Power Automate, and Power Platform.
So I would say the new feature, what I'm excited and favorite would be one is the button editor, what we are getting instead of a ribbon workbench. Maybe we can do that directly from the Maker portal using PowerFX functions, and the custom pages, what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, really good features them actually. I've recently migrated a whole load of ribbon workbench buttons over to the new Maker method in it. It's much quicker, it's much easier. You're not messing about loading solutions.
Yeah, it's more quick to do.
Yeah, it's really nice. I really enjoy the PowerFX options as well within that. So let's go with Matt Oldfield next. What's the favourite feature you found, Matt?
I'm just going to repeat you here. I'm really excited about kind of Power FX, Command FX. It's really nice to see that that's progressing, and yeah, that's really excited. I'd be interested to know just where we're at on the timeline with that. I don't know if you've got anything, Stuart, that you can add to that at some point during this. You know, when it's been out preview.
Yeah, of course. So as far as I know, the commanding is now in general release, whereas the Power FX options within the commanding is still in preview. I know that we are expecting any day now an announcement on the preview of calculated fields within Power FX. That's something that's supposed to be coming alongside it and being developed in parallel. You can do them in Dataverse for Teams for now, but not quite ready in model-driven apps. But from what I gather, later on this year, we should see that whole thing come as a package. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Definitely.
The Power FX stuff is very, very powerful for Canvas apps, as we all know, but it's becoming more useful within our model-driven apps as well. So it's nice to see that all coming together and more low-code, no-code solutions there. Really nice features.
Yeah,
but let's move on to, yes, that's cool. Let's move on to Marcus, please. So what have you found in this release wave that you're most excited about, Matt?
Yeah, sorry to be boring, but just to echo what's already been said, I've already done some kind of development in preview with in-app notifications, and there's a massive amount of potential there. So yeah, it's nice to see that go general availability, and you don't need that little JavaScript hack anymore. So that's all good. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the ribbon workbench, of course, but you know, it's really nice to have the command buttons just available there and part of the solution that's going to kind of really bring things on. So those are my two highlights of this wave release.
Yeah, on the in-app notifications, have you had a chance to use the new XRM toolbox tool for building them? It's called In-App Notification Builder. I found that really useful for adding in what they call actions. So, you know, your link at the bottom that would say like open work order or open sales order or whatever. You can build them through the XRM toolbox tool and then just straight copy and paste them in. It's really, really useful, and it kind of pushes those notifications from plain text to something users can interact with as well.
That's interesting, because that's interesting. I was doing that the longhand way of you know, writing that little kind of sort of JSON object to kind of do that. But yeah, that having actionable in-app notifications is a really key thing. So that's a really good point.
It brings away from it being another way of communicating with the user, and it actually makes it usable as well. Like every project I've ever worked on, someone said, can you send us an email when this happens, an email when that happens? And yeah, we could, but what does that email really do? It just takes you away from Dynamics and then puts you back in.
Yeah.
Whereas with their in-app notifications, like you say, you can click on it and stay in Dynamics and interact with something else. It's really cool. I really like it.
Another sort of small point to make on that as well. It's kind of device agnostic. So you can use in-app notifications on a mobile device as well. And I know that's different from you know, I forget what they call them now, but you know, you kind of
the push ones.
Yeah, it's different from push notifications. So there's different use cases from push notifications to in-app notifications. But even if you're using you know, Dynamics Mobile, you can still get in-app notifications, which is it's a really nice sort of, you know, it doesn't matter what device you're on, whether it's the desktop or the mobile, it just works really, really well.
Yeah. I saw a really nice blog on that recently, actually, where they were talking around the different levels of notification. So an in-app notification first for your kind of less important stuff. You've got a case that falls out of SLA in 24 hours, for example. Then maybe a push notification 6 hours before to say this is approaching SLA, and then finally an email after it's fallen out of SLA to your line manager to say Marcus's case hasn't been resolved yet. Then the line manager would be able to take some action from it. Maybe they know Marcus is off sick, or they know Marcus is tied up with other things, so reallocate that case and then have someone pick that up and call the customer and say, look, I'm really sorry, we've fallen out of SLA, here's what we're going to do. And It's just going to help and drive that proactive service for customers as well, without just bombarding people with notifications. Like we all know what it's like when you don't look at your phone for a weekend and open it up on a Monday morning, there's 50 notifications. First thing you do is just clear them, you don't even read them. So it's going to be interesting to see how different people use the different types of notifications for different situations. Really enjoying that feature though. It's really quite cool. Let's move on to Matthew.
Yes, I really got to say that I enjoy the button editor, or like Power FX too. I've been using the ribbon workbench a lot, so I'm looking forward to, or should I say, looking forward to go away from the ribbon workbench. But it is exciting to start using the Power FX even more. And I really got to say that the in-app notifications is a really exciting feature as well.
Yeah, it's really powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Let's move on. So was it Claire Keen? Sorry, I missed your first name. The line broke when you introduced yourself.
Hi there. Yes, it is Claire. Yes, so I probably can't speak for Dynamics, but on the Power App side, we're developing with Canvas apps. And I think one of the features we've just started to look at this week that we liked is using the component libraries. So we can easily bring in a menu and use it on multiple screens very quickly and easily. I think that's just come out of preview.
I'm sure that's come out this release wave out of preview. So
yes,
it is really cool though. I've seen a few blogs on that, particularly with people using, so you have the custom pages within Dynamics that are basically an embedded Canvas app page. I've seen a few people using, like you say, those component libraries within there to make almost a menu within a menu. So you have your left menu in Dynamics and then your menu specific to that app.
Exactly.
It's really nice to see people make it look and feel like part of the app, as opposed to just buttons all over the place. And like you say, being able to reuse them as well, it's really quite powerful and saves a whole lot of time for the maker as well.
It does. It does. It's a real time saver, and as you say, that's a good way to sort of summarize it, that it's a menu within a menu.
Yeah.
Great.
Felix, what's your favourite feature you've found so far? Have we had a chance to come to you yet? We might have lost Felix. I've got Caviar. What's your favourite feature so far?
That is editable grid, and it was earlier that the last line of the grid was not saving because one has to click on the other line to save it. Now the Microsoft has removed that bug, and every single line of the editable grids are getting saved. So that's the feature I like.
Sorry, I didn't catch too much of that. Hopefully everyone else picked up on that, but the line was really not too clear there. Colin, what's your favourite feature you found so far, mate? Have you had a chance to delve too much in, or?
I think I'm more of a consumer here, Stuart, but there are some bits which I think jump out at me. I think in the wider platform AI builder, I think is maturing a lot. I think there's a lot of it's becoming a much more usable product, part of the suite, if you like. And I guess I keep looking for reasons to use it, and I think there's some new bits about extracting signatures from emails and things like that, which we have had needs from clients to do. So yeah, these are the bits which I'm I think it's becoming a more and more compelling technology. So looking forward to using that.
Yeah, there is some really cool stuff coming up on that as well. I really like AI Builder, and like you say as well, I'm kind of keen to use it, but I've yet to find a really good use case for it. So as the product matures, we'll hopefully see a bit more on that as well. It's been interesting to see some of the new features that are coming in the roadmap priorities for the different products as well, and things like remote assist as well. So they're bringing in surveys and walkthroughs to remote assist, for example, being able to tie that in with AI Builder and maybe use remote assist to pick up the product you're looking at is a wheel. Here's a guide on how to replace a wheel, for example. Seen some really cool stuff coming together on that. So be interesting to see what comes next. The last person we've got, I think, is Clarice. So what's your favourite feature you found so far? What's Clarice as well? Let's take a moment and have a quick look at the new Dynamics experience page that's came as part of this release wave as well. But basically what they've got here is it brings together your roadmap, your release wave details and all that sort of stuff, all into kind of one page. Then here as well, you have your product updates, your release highlights and so on. So there's all kinds of really nice stuff in there. There is also a way to reach like a release planner where you can save the different parts that you're really looking forward to. I'm not sure what they've done to the page over the last couple of days, but they seem to have hidden that. So I don't know if it's still under development, but there was a few posts kicking about LinkedIn showing how to access it. I really like what they're doing here though with the different videos and things as well. Instead of just giving you a 700-page guide on how to understand what's coming next, they've kind of split it out and they've put some nice little product highlights here, split it into the different sections as well. One of the really nice ones that I've spotted here as well, that it's been available in Canvas apps for a little while, but they've also brought it to custom pages. Just kind of going back to what you were saying, Colin, about AI, you're now able to use your own AI models in Power Platform, which is really cool. And they've also built in, they're calling it AI-powered assistance, but it's what we know as IntelliSense. In Canvas app formulas as well, that's been a lifesaver for people like me who don't do a lot of Canvas apps. It's really cool to see them keeping pushing the AI agenda. Nice to see what they're bringing out in the customer service space as well. So they recently bought, I can't remember the name of the company, but it was a natural language processing company. Part of the roadmap agenda is bringing in a lot of their capabilities into the system. Is there anything else that people have seen kind of going about in the last few weeks that they think is worth highlighting that we may have missed? No, that's always good. It's good to hear we haven't missed too much.
Stuart, I think it was Nuance, the Microsoft bought,
Nuance,
and yeah. I think it's for their medical language, medical natural language processing stuff.
Yeah, that's the one. And they've started putting out stuff on like the business app launch events and things like that, showing how they're going to integrate that into the healthcare cloud. I'm not sure about the others on the call, but I'll be honest, I haven't had much of a chance to use the industry-specific clouds, but it's really quite exciting to see them bringing in things like natural language processing for health and being able to bring Power Platform to whole new audiences and new and exciting projects as well. So that's really cool. That I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. We've got about half an hour left, so let's have a quick dive into the various different release plans, and we'll just stop at anything exciting that we see. So a brief reminder on marketing. Key kind of parts here, moments-based marketing, so new triggers for journeys and event-based journeys. Some more AI and data stuff to personalize interactions. So if a customer says or does this, then do this instead. So that's kind of tying back to your customer journeys as well. And they're also enhancing the collaboration stuff. I'm not going to go too much into the collaboration at the moment, because they're also doing similar across other bits of the system as well. So we'll kind of come back to the collaboration stuff in a little bit. Let's dive a bit deeper into what they're doing with data and AI here. So this kind of stuff here, I'll be honest, I haven't read too much into what they're doing with marketing, but it seems like what they're doing is doing the marketing now, what they did with field service a couple of years ago, and really pushing out new updates as often as possible. Marketing's a bit of a strange one as well, because it has their twice yearly releases, but it also has a monthly release. These ones are in our twice yearly one. On the monthly release, you get smaller things, but it's bigger than your traditional Dynamics monthly release. Do we have any marketing specialists on the call that want to talk through anything they've found for marketing so far? Sure we do. So let's move on from marketing. Within sales, a lot of what they're doing is, again, around collaboration and also bringing in conversational intelligence as well. So I have seen the conversational intelligence stuff through customer service, where it's like transcribing Teams calls and things like that. It seems like they're really bringing this on and bringing this into sales as well. So really cool stuff in there, automatic call transcription and suggestions on next best actions and things like that. So it's cool to see that in sales as well. They're also bringing out a lot in terms of Teams and Outlook collaboration. So not sure how many of you have had a chance to play with this yet, but the linking chats within records is really quite cool. So we've got the new co-presence feature. Two people are in the same record at once. You can see that from within the record, and you could even start a Teams conversation right in that. So say myself and Colin are both looking at the same record by coincidence. I could start a conversation with Colin right away and say, look, I'm dealing with this customer, you're dealing with this customer. Let's share some best practice, share some knowledge on what you know about them, what I know about them, and really bring along that relationship and hopefully help drive a bit more sales. This one here is really sneaked under the radar as well, actually. It went into public preview in April, just as the release wave came out. But it was, so as we'll see here, it was just added 29th of April. So when we had our conversation last time around this wasn't there yet. And this effectively allows you to embed a Dynamics 365 record in a Teams conversation, have a Teams call about it, and update it directly within Teams. So similar to what we're used to driving all the time with staying within Dynamics, this means that people are having a Teams call about it. They can stay within that Teams call. You don't have the whole, give me a second while I share screen and move over here and find this and find that. You embed it in before the conversation, get everyone on the call, talk through it and update it live as you go. You're also able to do the same on Teams chats and channels as well. Additionally, having the ability to add activities and notes and things. So for example, if I was having a conversation with Colin, they was like, listen, can you give this guy a call? It's already within the Teams chat. We can add that phone call record within there, and Colin can then reflect back on that later and see that I've made that call. So it doesn't even have to ask if it's happened. It's all there and it's all clear and all visible. And you've also got various different options for integrating Teams records and Dynamics records from both sides as well. So creating Teams meetings within Dynamics and creating Dynamics records within Teams. That seems to be kind of across the board that's coming in. They've marked it as a sales feature, but I have been using it in a custom model driven app recently. It does seem to be available throughout as well. Disappointingly, there doesn't seem to have been much on the field service front in this release wave. It seems like smoothing off a few rough edges. They have put some usability enhancements to field service mobile. There's no real detail in terms of what those are. The couple of field service tenants that we look after, I haven't seen any changes yet. So I'll be honest, I've no idea what these usability enhancements are, with the exception of the date and time controls that they now look and feel like Android or Apple controls. That's about all I've seen, to be honest. Do we have anyone on the call who deals with the finance and ops side of things, or is everyone kind of CE based and Power Platform based?
I know that I've got clients that'd be interested to hear what you've got to say about it. If you wanted to run through, Stuart, and we could share the recording.
I'll be honest, I don't know finance and ops at all.
No,
But I figured if there was a few people on the call wanted to have a chat through it, then we've got a bit of time. So
it's come up a
certainly
couple of
open up the
times
options, but-
recently, so maybe that's for another day.
Yeah, certainly one for another day, but it's not something I'd feel confident enough in discussing at length.
No worries.
Let's have a look at some of the other aspects of Power Apps and Power Platform that we haven't really gone into. So Owen kind of touched on AI Builder and things, but most of the favorite features that people are finding seem to be for model-driven apps or Canvas apps so far. So have a quick look into Power BI. There's some nice new stuff coming from that. Personally, I don't use a lot of Power BI. It tends to be like some Power BI reports alongside a model-driven app, for example, but there are some really cool generic features. Being able to embed Power BI documents in some new places, so in data frames for Jupyter Notebooks, embedding Power BI goals, which is quite cool. That's quite new. So it's similar to the Dynamics 365 goals, where you set a goal, you set thresholds and so on, and the system reacts to that and the report reacts to that. That should be quite cool to see. You can see that being useful in sales scenarios. Does anyone have anything else they want to add on what they found on the Power BI side of things so far? Marcus, I know you've been building some Power BI stuff recently. Is there anything new that you found, Matt?
There hasn't been anything new as such. To be honest, I think there was some licensing changes that makes Power BI Premium a lot more attractive. It was quite, it was quite outrageously expensive previously. So I might be wrong, but I think there has been some licensing changes that makes that a little bit more accessible. But features-wise,
yeah.
Features-wise, I haven't really come across anything, to be honest. That's really sort of got me excited.
Yeah, they don't seem to be putting as much into Power BI at the moment compared to what we're getting with model-driven apps and Canvas apps at the moment.
I think the nice thing about Power BI Premium, Marcus, the other to there is obviously the premium one. You can do it's effectively a replacement for SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. You can do the sort of paginated reports in that. I think that it used to be that you, as far as I'm aware, you had to buy it on an organisation level at about £4,000 per tenant, but you now get it for, I think it's £15 per user. Slightly cut down, but I always knew Power BI Pro as almost the dashboard type version of it, as the only one. I was only recently aware that you could do all of the paginated reports, the old SSRS type stuff. But I think that looks quite compelling.
Yeah, I'm sure that license change was announced about the same time as the recent change to Power Apps per app licensing. But it seems to have kind of flown under the radar for a lot of people. It's been interesting because for a while you had your Pro option, which was like, from memory, about £20–25 a month. And then, like you say, the premium one that was like £4,000 per tenant. There didn't seem to be anything in between, but being able to do premium on an individual user level, like you say, kind of makes it affordable for people who need a bit more than Pro but don't want to spend £4,000 per tenant per year. If you've got 10 people, like the agricultural machinery company we work for, they're never going to spend £4,000 a year. But if you ask them to spend £15 per month per user for 2 people in there, it may be something that's approachable for them. So I think I'm going to dive a bit deeper into the license and stuff, and maybe send something over to everyone afterwards, because it's certainly worth looking at. Let's have a wee look at the AI Builder stuff that's coming up, because I know there's, as you said, Colin, some new and exciting stuff coming up there. Content intelligence. Content intelligence features make it easy to use AI and read content for understanding apps and flows. Dive a bit deeper into what this is. Documents like contract, statement of works, and letters are common in any business. With this update, This is quite cool. It looks like they're enhancing the ability to extract invoices and so on, and kind of pushing that a bit further. They do define these as kind of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. I'll be honest, I'm not massively clear on what these all are and how they define them. They do give some examples here, but by the sounds of it, it's the ability to extract information from more different types of documents. That's possibly where the signature part that you mentioned was, Colin, because I'd imagine the signature is going to look different on every single page. Whereas on like a standard invoice, for example, it always has the header up the top, always has the footer at the bottom, and the cost in the middle. So I suppose that's maybe a structured versus unstructured there.
Some of it's really clever. So the use case we had was where a company was dealing with thousands of customers, and then they were dealing with those customers' insurance companies, who all responded by email in a slightly different way. So you could but if you taught, you could teach AI Builder where to get different bits of data. So that, this company always responds with this this reference number here and the customer name there. And once you've taught it, I think the minimum is about 5 you can put into AI Builder. And after you've got that, you can then start to, it will then extract these on an automated basis. And it is quite compelling when you've taken the effort to do that initial setup.
Yeah, I can imagine for a lot of customers it'd be a bit daunting at first with the amount of initial setup, but like you say, 5 documents, that's not a lot. There's also some new improved AI Builder capabilities as well. So let's have a quick look and see what this is. It's interesting that they're calling capacity overage notification a capability. I don't know about you, but I don't really see that as a capability. I see that as another warning. But I suppose it does have its benefits in that if you're running over your capacity, they'll tell you now. A banner up the top and an email notification, but I'm kind of failing to see why that's a feature. If I'm honest, that's just another thing that they're doing. Let's have a wee look at this. Feedback loop improves. And deployed in production. Or use the models with new data sets. That's quite cool. So by the sounds of this, going back to the example you had there, Colin, let's say a new insurance company start getting dealt with and try to process 20 documents from them, and of course it doesn't work because it doesn't know how to understand those documents in that format yet. Those documents would be flagged and sent back to the training wizard so that the training wizard could then say, I need to know a bit more about these documents here from this new insurance company. You help me and can you train me so that this continues? That's really quite cool. I like that. I think that's probably about all I've got for now. Let's have a quick run round and see if there's anyone we missed at the start of the call. Sashank, what's your favourite thing you found so far? We missed you at the start of the call, I think. We might have lost Sashank. I've got Hackle000. Thanks for joining us. What's your favourite feature you found so far? Might be stuck on mute.
I've got another one I just remembered, actually, Stuart. So
yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes it's the little things, isn't it? I haven't tried this out yet, but I know clients have asked for it numerous times in the past. But I think GA from April, you can restrict the activity list to those that are only relevant for the app. So, instead of that big long list of, activities that just weren't relevant for the application, you can now just hone that down. And I know clients have asked for that time and time again, and there wasn't a very easy way of doing it. There was some hacky kind of things you could do in the ribbon, but Now that's going to be much easier. So that's just a nice little thing that that's going to make everybody's lives a little bit easier, I think.
In fact, I have already
Yeah, I remember
used for
seeing
one of my rollouts. Sorry, one of this side. So the feature what this gentleman spoke about, the activity list based on the app and the role.
Yep.
We are already using in one of the insurance company in the production environment.
Yeah,
It works
exactly.
beautiful. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. I'll never tire of having the conversation when they go, what's a customer service alert? Or a customer voice alert? Very, very few systems actually use it, but because it's an out-of-the-box activity type, previously it always showed. And like you say, it was a bit of a frustrating one not being able to hide it without doing loads of complicated hacks and things that for smaller projects you just don't have time for. I did find something really nice just this morning actually that I wanted to share with everyone. So within Power Platform Admin Center, I don't know if this is rolled out to everyone yet. Sorry, Power Apps Admin Center rather. They seem to have changed the UI again. Give you a kind of a more modern way of designing things. Have a quick look and hopefully it is in this tenant. In our solution, click on a table.
Yeah, the new table designer.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem to be in this tenant so far.
Which I think they've brought over from Dataverse for Teams, haven't they? So
they have, yeah.
Yeah,
UI is that, yeah.
It's yeah, it's just a kind of, I suppose, a citizen developer kind of interface for designing tables, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll see if I can get it to come up here. Because I know it's in this tenant. Obviously, we'll need to be careful in terms of what I'm showing you within this tenant, because this is a live customer tenant, but at least be able to get a visual of what it looks like. I've noticed as well that they've now changed the default for editing apps. So before you had the edit in preview when you're editing model-driven apps, and that seems to have updated as well now. Give me 2 seconds. This is a bit weird. Not quite along the lines of what we're discussing, but I have noticed a bit in the last few days that particularly ribbon bars don't seem to be loading all the time. And Marcus, you mentioned you'd seen this as well with a bit of slowness over the last kind of few weeks. Has anyone found any sort of workarounds or any way of speeding this up at all? 'Cause as you can imagine, it's quite frustrating, particularly with any sort of demo when you're having to refresh over and over again to get into it.
No workarounds, but definitely kind of experienced this lagging over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to have kicked into gear now. Let's have a wee look in here. When we select our table now, got the new look here. Add your tables in just like you do on Dataverse for Teams. We select new column. This UI is all changed as well. The different data types, instead of a big long list, you've got your different types in there. Got your formats within them as well. So your rich text, your text area, etc. Then you have your enhanced options down the bottom. And one thing I really like with existing tables as well, you do edit in new tab, brings you up the same UI as well. From here, you can create an app directly from that table. So that kind of speeds things up, particularly for Canvas apps and so on. And you've also got over here the different types of things that's in here. So your forms, your views, your charts that we're used to seeing, business rules, and also commands over on the right-hand side. So up here, you've also got a nice little link on how to customize command bars. So that's the command designer that we've been talking about towards the start of the call here. Add these in here as well. Interestingly, there doesn't seem to be any commands in any of them yet. So I think they're still kind of working on this. Also got this new overview section as well that kind of looks and feels similar to what we saw a moment ago. And also when you're importing a solution, made a quick change up here as well. It's nothing major. Previously, you had to click up here and then do show history. Then you had the whole issue where if the history didn't update, you would have to go back to solutions, wait for it to update, go back into history, and it was just a whole hassle. Because now your history is in here. And that also updates live without the need to refresh and so on. And you've also got your publishers in here. They were relatively easily accessible before, but it's interesting to see them in a more sensible place and easier to access. I really like what they're putting together in the Maker platform at the moment. It's making it a more attractive proposition compared to the classic editor, but it's not quite there in terms of the classic editor yet. Still little quirks in there that I don't like. So, for example, if you want to increment the version of a patch that you're importing, if there's already a patch in there, it errors out. If you want to overwrite customizations, you've got extra drop downs that don't need to be there, whereas in the classic editor, it's just there. It's the second page. You say yes or no. But overall, it is really starting to come together. Has anyone else found anything else interesting in the Maker platform over the last sort of couple of weeks? Marcus, you found some cool stuff around data flows, didn't you? And
yeah,
maybe the issue you mentioned the other day that's worth mentioning as well. What was the challenge you had removing it across in the solution again?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what the resolution is. I've got an open ticket with Microsoft, but I've recently been using data flows, and I'm not sure the whole ALM kind of stories all stitched up with that. So data flows are solution aware. You can add them to solutions, but what I found was when I then imported that solution into a higher environment, there was just issues with the data flow. I mean, I knew I had to kind of recreate the connections, which I did, but there was other kind of odd things that were just happening that I couldn't really get to the bottom of. It's all working now, but yeah, it wasn't a very smooth process, to be honest. So I think some of these kind of new features have perhaps not been kind of, all integrated and stitched up into the kind of whole ALM process in a sort of smooth way.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? You would think it would be similar to importing a flow into a new environment where it says, like, re-establish your connection, you put that in and then that's it. But it seems like it's been a bit more with data flows there. Yeah, a little bit disappointing overall, actually. It's meant to be easy.
And some of the error messages you get from data flows are very, very generic. So you really don't know where to go. There's if you import the error, if you export the error log, you get a lot more information in the Excel. But yeah, sometimes it's quite hard to just figure out what's gone wrong and why.
That's more kind of age-old dynamics problem, though, isn't it? Like we've all seen that. Please try again later. Error message.
Yeah, it's more often
import a solution. You're like, yeah.
It's more often than not, like, alternate key issues, things like that. Just the things that trip you up time and time again, I think. But not data flows, but I have noticed some UI improvements in Power Automate. So that the first one I noticed was the ability to run multiple flows, multiple failed flows, which initially I got quite excited about until I realized it was only limited to you can only rerun 10. So it's nice, but not quite all the way there yet.
I saw something cool this morning actually.
Oh yeah.
Let me just
cool.
change tenants. Show you this here actually. So here's my latest patch. This one will do. Needless to say, I will have to tidy this environment up quite soon. There's about 10 patches on there at the moment. I'm having a look over here. Average duration of your flow, which is really, really cool. Particularly for demoing stuff back when you've tested it a few times, being able to go back to the user and say, we reckon this will take about 5 seconds. If it's taken longer than that, there's something wrong. No one wants to scroll through this and work out the maths on it. This improve your flow button. I haven't used it too much so far, but it seems a bit like the process advisor for Power Automate Desktop. It's going to be quite cool to see what they're bringing in with that. Also available at the top here as well. It is very, very, very slow though, I've noticed. When it does finally open up, there's some useful stuff in there to help you kind of make your flows run a bit faster, point out any bottlenecks, any sections of the flow that are running really slowly. One of the suggestions it gave me the other day was parallel branch. So the flow was only, I think it was like 15 steps, and it was taking about 8 seconds. So not a long flow at all. But when you consider that flow is being run 100 times a day, being able to reduce that down to 4 seconds, that's a good 5 or 10 minutes off someone's day. That's enough time to make a coffee, enough time to make a quick phone call, enough time to do something useful with the time you'd previously be spending waiting on flows running. It's cool to see them bringing in that sort of experience. I feel like as well your citizen developer types of the world, they're not going to know about parallel branches and why you should use them and why you shouldn't use them. And these kind of process insights are a useful tool for teaching people when that's appropriate, when it would make more sense. It's nice to see more of the, going back to what Colin said, the AI stuff, not just helping the customers, but helping us as well, making our life a bit easier. Let's try one more time to find this product updates part. Really, really nice. Hold on. This one. I'm really struggling to find this. I think they've maybe taken it off the website and they're making some changes to it. But it basically allows you to capture the stuff that you're interested in. So let's say you only deal with customer service as a brief example. You find all the customer service related stuff that's important to you, and it shows you the current status and the current release date as well. We've all seen these ones that it says it goes into public preview in October. Then it comes to October and it's nowhere to be seen, and you don't hear anything about it until the next release wave when it's shown as coming up in that one. Do this, you're able to kind of look at stuff anytime you want and get live updates on it. And it also had some product bugs in there. It's interesting that it's disappeared because it was very, very useful for tracking those product bugs and any ideas that come through the ideas forums as well. Anything they're building in it, it just shows you what's coming up, and it's almost a live release plan. I'll see if I can find that and send it over to everyone after the call though. But I think that's probably everything for today. We're just a little bit of time left. Sarah, do you want to add anything before we close up?
Not really, no, unless there's any other questions or comments anyone's got to kind of add. We've had people come and go, Stuart, I don't know if you've noticed throughout the call, so we've had people on partial bits of it, so possibly not as much input, but if there's no last bits, then we can follow this up with a full recording just for the people that are on the call, and you can kind of use that yourself.
Just before we wrap up, Terry, I noticed you came in a little bit later. What's your favourite feature you've found so far in this release wave? Terry, are you still with us?
I'll follow up with everybody afterwards, because there's been a few technical glitches, I think, today, unfortunately. But I'll catch up with everybody. If there's any further kind of discussions to be had, then maybe we can set a follow-up or talk next time.
Cool. We'll likely be doing another one of these. The next release wave comes, the next release documentation comes out normally about August time. I think we'll maybe do one about June time, maybe. Sarah, what do you think?
June, yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
do one about June, and then another one about November when the release comes in. So similar to what we've done today, a month or so after it goes in, to give everyone the chance to play and find new things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the sooner we get it set up, the better. I've also changed how we've been kind of, the link and how people join. So we're putting that straight onto the live event on LinkedIn. So it should be a bit easier for people to sign up and get in their calendar earlier.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and I will hopefully see some of you next time.
Thanks, Stuart.